Welcome back to more coverage of the Grand Star Cup Division 1. I am your host, Rerim. Last week, we saw a couple teams have some rough starts, we saw some good wins, and as we approach the middle of the season, each match will become more and more important. Who will be able to clutch up, and will anyone be able to conquer the unstoppable forces of XI in heaven? Find out now.
That is solid.
This could be huge. Oh my god, that's a huge play.
Oh, here we go! Here we go!
Here's what the standings look like after the first week. It's a little bit all over the place because some people played 3 matches, some people didn't play any. And starting off week 2, the first match we'll be going over is SL versus IF. And I'm playing again. I'm back, baby. We're using the same lineup. And IF this time has Shadow playing over Ryan. So it's Shadow, Barry, Snow, Cormac, Dermo. And going into the war, this is going to be one of our easier matchups, considering we have to play Heaven again, we have to play XI, we have to play KG again. So we were pretty confident that we could win this one. When the last time we played IF was for our promotion match last season, and we lost that. I remember that match well because I was tired and hung over that day, and I thought I could still do fine and play fine, but I was not fine. I played very badly, so we ended up losing. And this time I wanted to make sure that I was dialed in. And we start off on Sherbet. I start in 8th place, so I get a bottom spot box, and it's triple shrooms, which isn't ideal. Usually you'd want a golden when you're getting the 7th or 8th, because look, it only takes me up to 3rd. I get a 3rd place chain, and it is a TC. I try to pass it to Shadow, but I kind of bonk into the wall, and I don't want to slow down too much because it'll just give Barry a break there, but he ends up just shrooming away anyways, so I get the TC. I'm stuck in the back. I pull a blue, and I throw the blue quickly as they were top spots. Macy shrooms into first after that, and I pull another blue. I'm forced to hold it, but as you can see, Snow and Cormac both used dodges, and we had the shock, so Brody gets a very easy dodge in the back there. But Snow gets into set, so he spends a mega. I pull triple shrooms. That's not bad. I'm going to be able to shroom up a little bit, shroom up into set, and chain my item. But Brody's chain was triple reds, so he reds 2 of them, and we actually end up finishing in top 4. Sam had shroomed up at some point, so we were top 2 for a while there. And going into gardens, we end up getting a lot of the shrooms early. I throw up the green, what's up, off the wall. That was not intentional. I was trying to hit him off of the first bounce, I didn't, but the second bounce was not intentional. It still looked pretty cool. Like I said, we did have a lot of the mushrooms, so we are 1-3-4 going into the second lap, and I get into 3rd somehow. And I have triple reds. Now this is a very important moment of this race, me trying to red Shadow. I miss him, and because of that, as you can see, Dermo's right there. He hits the Chain Chomp, drops a star for Shadow. Shadow's able to take cut and get into first as we have shock, and we thought about calling it here because Macy had a star, but we would have just dodged Shadow, guaranteeing his first. I end up dropping at the first set. I luckily pull a star in 7th. Macy also cheeses Bill in 8th, so we get 2 pretty lucky dodges there, not gonna lie. And I end up shrooming up afterwards. Cormac has a TC, so I just go super wide, try to avoid it. And we end up finishing 2, 3, 4, 6. So yeah, Shadow still got first, even though we delayed the shock. So if I was able to red him, we'd probably get a much better race. We actually definitely would have gotten top 2 because, like I said, we were controlling shock, so we could have dodged a lot later. Anyways, our WS is picked, and we get shrooms again at the beginning. We were able to take the top spots over pretty quickly. I'm just kind of in the mid pack causing mayhem, and I throw this red at Barry. It hits him, but I didn't think he was actually going to be where he was with that TC. I thought it was just going to lag a little bit. So I end up getting the TC. I'm forced to the back. I pull a star, and once again, we do have shock. So TS comes out here. Brody calls it as he lands in 3rd, and we end up TSing 3 of them. So we finished the race top 3-5. I went from 8th to 5th. I see 3 people respawning. We get our Bowser's Castle we pick, and as we're top 3, they're going to backspam, and I'm just going to sit at the ramp to secure the Aether, because if somebody can pull Bill in 8th from the other team quickly and spam it up, they can get into first pretty easily, so I like stopping there. I just spam my star to try to hit them in their bottom spots, kind of combo them, And I think it ended up paying off because we are top 2, 4, 5 at the beginning here, and the guy who I started, Cormac, who is in 8th by quite a bit. It just kind of prevents people from catching up as easily. And I know I could have held a star all race, but I felt just like burning it, being super aggressive. But what ends up happening is that Brody was trying to block Glitch, but he fails to block Glitch. So Shadow actually takes cut, and Macy gets bumped off by Barry there with a little bit of lag. So we're still okay spots, but IF is 1-3. And I end up pulling a TC, and at the last second, I don't even see Dermo till the Thwomp lifts up and reveals him. I'm able to pass the TC off, and Sam pulled blue, so we're able to blue Barry there, and Brody barely gets into first, but he ends up hitting the fire bar on the right path. So IF does get back into first, even though we've just blued them. Lap 3 comes, I'm still in 5th in the mid pack. I pull another TC, kind of screwed this time, but I am able to at least red snow after I'm TC'd. And we get shock again. Yes, we get shock again. And Brody, who was in 3rd at that point, pulled a mega, so he's able to very easily dodge. I just watched 2 of them fail cut. And me hitting the fire pillar unfortunately mattered because I did lose 6th off of that. So we got 1, 4, 5, 7 after cheesing a mega, and we had shock for a while. So we win the first GP by 66. We win it by quite a bit. The next GP starts out with RBC, and I'm in 8th again, so get the 8th placer. It's a star, and once again I decided to just burn it early when usually I hold these and try to be aggressive, and I do end up starring Barry here, a little bit of lag, and I chain into golden, so I'm able to golden up, even though IF is a lot of the top spots. I'm able to golden up here, and again we pull blue very early on, so I tell him to throw the blue late here. I kind of delay how wide I go just to make sure that he gets across the ramp, and I am able to get into first, so he can't like slow down or anything, so I get blued. So I'm able to run this race for quite a while up until lap 2. I kind of have a weird fire pillar cycle, so I just decide to go left again in fear of a snipe. But this time I know for sure I'm going to have enough distance out of the rail. Try to back spam someone, it kind of hits a shell. I swerve back my only item, and I do end up getting redded for it. I just tried to be super aggressive. It was kind of almost an instinct seeing him right behind me there. Normally I don't go for that type of play where I back my only item, but he was so close that I thought for sure the green would connect. But unfortunately I just mistimed it. What I should have done was probably just keep my first green, and I maybe could have made a play with that. Because even if I do green snow there, maybe Cormac has a red and he can just hit me, or his red will lag past me, the one that he did end up throwing. Anyways, what ends up happening is I still stay in the top spot relatively easily, and Sam, who was close to us, ends up sniping out Snow, so he gets into first, and then Snow is bumped off the track by Cormac, and we did have shock at this point, so I call it here to get myself in the set, hopefully TS Barry. I don't really know where he is, but I do end up TSing him, and Macy was holding on Mega pretty much the whole lap since we had shock. Macy chains a bomb and tries to bomb snipe Cormac, but yeah, that does not connect, and instead Macy gets a last place when that easily could have been top 2, 4, and if the bomb did connect on Cormac, Macy could have like taken rail and just backed it that very easily. We probably would have just got top 3, so unfortunately that does end up costing a lot of points there. We get their Koopa Cape pick. Kind of failed at the beginning. I tried to like fake him out and maybe back spam on the Shroomba, but I don't see any of them going for it, so I didn't back anything. I ended up holding blue for a long time. Macy was running for a while, and then a shock comes out by them lap 3 to kind of cancel the blue. I think it dodges Shadow and Mega, but it gets both me into Sam into last set, so I actually pull Shrooms. I was very surprised that they would call that there and get Cormac after the set. I was not expecting the shock to come. Chain my Shrooms, get more Shrooms in 5th. That's super lucky, to be honest. So I'm just kind of driving, and I'm trying to go wide to let Barry go, but I don't know what he's doing. He's like lagging behind me, and then I try to go tight, and then he's still in front of me, so I go wide again, and he's still like directly in my line. So I just get trailed because of dog shit lag. And Macy, who is our only top spot, gets hit, but we call a last second shock, as Burke had just gotten it. Sam had gotten Bill at some time on the water stream set, and we end up cheesing that race pretty hard because Macy did get hit there at the end, as you saw, and they would have gotten top 3. but instead Sam's able to creep into second, Brody gets a draft at the end and resizes and is able to get into fourth, so we end up finishing in even spots. BC3 comes out from us. I am once again griefing Cormac's race at the beginning. I don't know why it ended up that way, but it did. And I have reds, so I'm just going to try to chain for shrooms here, see what I get. I do get shrooms, I get golden. Brody makes cut, he makes ultra, while Sam blocks cut, goes around. I was thinking I could maybe snipe, unblock the banana there, and then take cut, but it ends up hitting people who are in front of me. I don't know how that's possible. But 3 of them are sitting on cut with Macy, and none of them unblocked. So yeah, me and Sam both go around and we're broken in 3-4 while Brody made cut, so he is gone in first. Only Barry is up there with us. As you can see, Sam drops a bomb in Dermo's face, so we're going to be gone 10 again. And Barry tries to go for ultra, he just straight up fails it. I don't think there was any interference, I think he just kind of choked that one. But Sam also fails at some point, so he falls off. I'm able to just call the shock that we do get very late here. I'm holding the Mega the entire race, and we just secure the top 2. Macy was holding blue the whole time. Sam, I don't really know what happened to him, but it's an easy top 2 for us. And finally, last race of the GP is Grumble Volcano. It's a pick from them. I pull out my red here. I just kind of try to slag a little bit. I thought for sure I would hit somebody by going slow there, but I miss. It's okay though, because I'm getting 5th place boxes. Pull a bomb. It's not too useful, but I know that Brody just got hit out, so I'm going to try to throw the bomb up at their top 2, and I do pull triple shrooms 5th. That is the item that I was looking for. Bomb out Cormac, and I do make rock hop, so I'm going to have shrooms in the front here, but Sam and Macy also make rock. They had both goldens, so we are top 3 for the rest of the lap up until rock lap 2, and unfortunately I choke on rock. Because I would have had a shroom in first, and what happens is 3 of them make rock in front of me. And this is the one race where they actually do end up pulling shock. So none of us can really get close to them, and they just dodge and respawn while Shadow dodges in a star. He's able to take respawn afterwards. Yeah, and none of us were able to shroom up in time or pull a dodge in order to counter the obvious respawn shock. So they do get top 3. And that does end up being a GSC GP win for them. They win it by about 17, so we're still up around 40 going to the last GP. And DDR comes out from them as they are the host. I am once again in 8th, so I get the bottom spot box, and it's triple shrooms. But me and Sam both get back bombed very early on. However, their host Shadow failed Sandtop, so we were able to get into first pretty easily. And we are controlling first place as I pull star here, and I just hold the star for pretty much the entire race, as I think we were 10th, and I just figured it's better to have this dodge this time instead of being super aggressive since we are already in control of a lot of the top spots. Pow comes out, so I'm forced into it, and it was trying to target Pow first. That was an IF Pow trying to target Pow Brody there. But what ends up happening is Brody dropped a ton of items like the triple bananas and the fib on the cut, or excuse me, on the wall glitch. So Shadow actually ends up messing up, and we are able to get into top 3. Luckily, I pull a mushroom to secure my 3rd place. I think I was probably still getting 3rd regardless, but it ends up being shockless as Barry was in a mega they definitely would have used there if they had it. And we actually end up getting a huge race because of the misplay with their POW. Delfino Square is picked by them, and I'm swerving around like an idiot. Usually on Delfino, you want to have 2 people go forwards and 2 people kind of drop. This time I don't drop that hard. I only get a 5th place box, but I see them behind me, so I immediately just backspam this bomb. Forces one of them into a mega. Barry gets nanted there. He burns a shroom, and I see them both behind me, so I figured dropping at this set is probably a good play. But unfortunately, I have to come to a full stop in order to wait for the box, and I do pull POW. Forced to hold it for a while. I get redded by snow, so that's why I'm so far behind. And Brody calls a POW to try to get himself in the air, but unfortunately it fails, so he loses his mushroom. There's a ton of stuff on that turn. And they are in top 2 after that because Brody lost his shroom, so they are controlling most of the top spots, but we do have shock here. And Sam has a mega. He's been holding the mega for a little while, but Macy also pulled a mega at that first set, so we kind of just cheesed 2 megas there as I pulled TC. I am able to pass it, and Snow does not use his star in time, even though he had a TC. Very easily would have dodged there, just used it a little bit earlier. So it's a pretty even finish as I'm able to take double. and we are insecure of most of the top spots. Shadow Shrooms passed me, but we do end up getting 1, 3, 4, 6. So it's another winning race, and we just had a huge race. We were already up 40, so winning the war is pretty much out of the question for IF at this point, unless they get... I don't think they can even win the war unless they got 2 top 4s or something like that. And we do get our mountain pick. Quick little snipe, kind of an ugly snipe, but IF finally gets another shock, and they dodge Cormac very early on, but we are 2-4 for a lot of that race up until another shock comes out. Lap 3, it dodges their bottom 2 spots in Cannon. Macy is able to pull Shrooms at that set at Cannon, so Macy Shrooms up. I also have a Shroom. Snow is an Omega behind me. Snow also Shrooms. It's a very tight finish. Macy did get blued on the line though, so we only get 2-4. We get bottom 2, so finally the shock's paying off for IF again, but it's a little bit too late for them. They need a huge race to even win the GP, but it just doesn't happen. We get Shock and Bill very late, so Sam's able to dodge up. Macy was in second the whole time, so very comfortable win on the last GP there, and we end up winning the war 10-2. This easily could have been a 12-0, I think, if we just cleaned up GP2 a little bit. Unfortunately, the bomb misplay on RBC did end up costing a lot of points, so that might have been able to swing things in our favor, but I also messed up on Grumble Volcano when I failed Rock. I probably end up getting second there, maybe. I don't know. They dodged and respawn, so I can just wait and respawn with them or take it in front of them while they call me out. So I was definitely getting either second or third there, which that would have probably helped out as well. Overall, I think that I played this war a lot better than I did the last one. There was really only Grumble Volcano, which was like a blatant fail. Everything else was pretty good, aside from RBC as well when I decided to back my item, but even then, that's kind of just going for a play and it not panning out. It's much less of a just complete driving error. Looking back though, like I said, I probably should have just kept my first green and tried to back someone on the straightaway, because I tried to back out of rail and it does hit a shell. It broke on one of their reds, so it was in the right spot, but I think just backing on the straightaway would have been a lot better and just have my other second shell as protection. The shot count was in our favor by quite a bit, especially in those first couple of races. It was definitely helping us out. We were definitely pulling dodges at opportune times, like on Gardens, for instance, us pulling 2 dodges in bottom 2 at the first set, that's pretty lucky. Or on RDS, pulling 2 megas during, like, going into lap 3 is also pretty lucky. But for something like RSL, that first race, they mistimed when they used their dodges. Like, they didn't cycle properly, so if Cormac held his mega later on, we might not have been able to use shock until the very end. We definitely wouldn't have gotten top 4 there. And if we accidentally end up dodging him, he probably gets second, maybe even first. And on Stadium, we were able to TS like 3 of them off of the last ramp. I mean, that's a little bit insane. If you're just able to get up into third and someone's able to pass Brody or do something, then that doesn't go quite as bad as it did for them. And then on BC3, I mean, they messed up the beginning of that race terribly. 3 of them sitting on cut, nobody on blocking. And then Barry just failed to cut lap 2 as he was their only other top spot, so that was a really easy race for us. And then finally DDR, I mean, that was after their top 3 that they just got on GV, so they were starting to make a comeback. They messed up the POW. They needed to like win that race, but they ended up losing it pretty badly by messing up that POW timing or whatever happened there. They gave us an easy top 3 when they needed to make something happen. So while we did get a lot of shocks and we were able to get dodges and kind of cheese some races, they were not playing around the shocks that well, especially those first couple ones. And overall, they had a couple really bad moments, like especially on BC3. So, you know, when you're not playing well and when the other team's getting a lot of the shocks, it's going to be tough for them to win. So we were pretty easily able to keep our lead and take home the dub. Next match to happen we get is SE versus Daisy. Daisy is running Luke this time, whose POV I'm using. SC has their normal lineup, not really much to say here. These guys have played a ton in the past. We get an RBC race 1. Luke does swerve right and he actually gets the draft off, so he's able to sneak into first place while Swig shrooms up. So Daisy gets into top 2 pretty early on. They keep 1-3 for a while. until Blue Shell comes out lap 2. And then Sean kind of sneaks his way up there, and Revan also kind of just sneaks his way up there. So they're top 3 till Luke gets a bomb pull, hits a nice bomb snipe, but that's got to hit somebody. They're all clustered up there. And Revan gets a TC, so now 2 of them are kind of just dead after that interaction. They're still top 2. Daisy shot comes out, dodges Sammy in a star. Sammy kind of swerves and bumps Sean a little bit, so it slows him down, gives Luke a little bit of time to catch up, and he throws the banana, but it doesn't connect, and he takes a shroom rail to pass Sean, so that little bump actually ended up mattering as he was able to pass Sean, but somehow Sammy didn't beat Sean. I think he just went around rail or messed up somewhere along the way. Either way, SE gets their track pick. They get the DDR pick. Luke fails Sandtop uncharacteristically, but he pulls Blue quickly after kind of driving in the back for a lap there. Pulls triple shrooms at last set, goes for Ultra, and as you can see on the mini-map, the pack's very tight. People are spinning out a lot. He makes fast Ultra, but SE is still in most of the top positions, and unfortunately Luke gets redded out right here, and he kind of just needs to golden up at the end. Daisy shot comes out very late, dodges a meal, doesn't really do anything for him, but it gets Luke into set so he can at least secure 6th or 7th. Daisy was holding shock most likely just to secure a Swig's first place there. It's kind of another even race. MC3 comes out. Luke sat for the Aether, it was a golden, and he just has to burn it to catch back up. Pulls triple shrooms, keep burning them. But as you can see by the names, SE are in most of the top spots. Sammy is up there in 2nd, but SE is 1-3. And a bomb comes out lap 2 that hits both Luke and Swig. That's a very nice bomb, especially because Luke had POW. Maybe they could have done something with that, use a T-POW or something. Luke does pull a Mega. He's still in the back for a while. Gets a nice golden chain in 7th. Golden's up. Doesn't dodge. SE just calls him out. Easy dodge for Revise. And it's top 2-4 for SE. They get the Toad's Factory track pick and start off strong as they're able to keep top 3 just with the normal draft. And actually Sean shrooms up into 4th for a second until he's Mega'd or passed up by Luke here, and Luke kind of makes a bot play, just going tight in the red room. That's kind of standard. You just got to go wide there if they're going to be top 2 like that. So definitely a misplay there, but Daisy's still up there. I mean, Swig just build up and build Sean off the track, so there's still 3-4-5, which is completely fine if they get 1 blue or a POW, but 1 backspam on the conveyors hits 2 Daisy members. And they finally get their blue, but a nicely placed fib in the middle. That fib is kind of risky sometimes because you can't really call out where it's going to be. Because if you say it's in the middle, it'll swerve left and right because the platform moves. But regardless, the person that got blued ended up getting bumped off the track. So Daisy does control 2-3-4 here going into the last turns, but a shot comes out. Swig is off the track from that T-POW, I think. That combo of POW plus shock was very strange, so he died, and SE does end up getting still a winning race off of that, but I think Daisy salvaged that the best they could, and the GP points go to SE. GP2 starts with DK Summit. I'm assuming this is an SE track pick. Usually you'd want to pick this in first to hopefully run it. Luke pulls triple reds, doesn't pull them out immediately. There he goes, starts to throw some reds up at Edison. One of them hits a different SE member. This red is following Edison for a while, and it either forces him to go for a single or he wanted to go for a single regardless, but Edison backs Luke off the track. It's honestly kind of a lucky backspam because sometimes if you try to back there on single like that, it'll just fall off the track. But Daisy is just all of the bottom spots after lap 1, and honestly they stay in the bottom spots for the entirety of the race, so that 1 back green really put an end to them because Luke would have been first, passing Edison on double. Luckily Daisy gets their track pick and they get shrooms in what appears to be 2-4, so 2 single shrooms, which is very nice, and they run for a lap up until Revan takes cut, but he just redded out. Emil gets blued, so they're still controlling first, and Sammy's also up there. And yeah, they finish in 1-3-5-6 after just running the rest of that. So very nice shroom pulls at the beginning, let them control most of the top spots. And they get BC3 comes next, I'm assuming should be SE. Luke, barely misses out on Ultra. It looks like he nanas one of the baggers, which is pretty funny. But it appears that Revise failed it. Oh gosh, and then Luke fails Shroomless, so he's in the back for quite a while. He just holds the star until Daisy's shot comes out. Gets a nice dodge, and he's actually pretty close to the pack after, failing cut twice lap 2, so not bad. And Blue comes out, Revises on Ultra. Someone's trying to take Shroomless. Oh, and Luke barely escapes that red shell, and he does make cut, and Daisy are all up here after that shock that they used. Most likely TS'd SE on the cut. The person going for Shroomless was probably an SE member. And yeah, you can see Sammy is up here. They almost get top 4. I think if Luke just swerved and aggressively backed his red shells, I think he would have hit Revise. They could have got top 4, but they get top 3-5, which is a monster race. Definitely brings them back in it, at least for the GP too. And they get their BC we pick. Emil keeps first. Luke dodges a red. Throws a snipe up on Revan, and it hits. He gets redded out, but honestly that's fine. It gives Emil a little bit of space, but unfortunately Emil did end up failing glitch pretty badly. And Luke, who was holding bomb, I think for Swig, who did get into first, loses blue to a bomb, and he's kind of just forced to sit in the mid low spots for the rest of the race. And if you look at the minimap, Emil did end up making cut lap 2 or 3. I think it was just lap 3. He just clutched up glitch, and yeah, Swig was up there the whole time, so they get top 2 off of that. They win the GP by 28. They are up 4 points going into the last GP. And Koopa Cape is picked by Daisy. Nana Snipe, what's up? Pretty standard snipe spot right there, but gets him off. Very nice. Revan does take Shrimba though, so he gets up into first. And Edison takes Mega Cut, so SE is still a lot of the top spots here. A rogue bomb is thrown. I think it might have been Swig's, but that was kind of a sorry attempt if it was his. It might have also been Edison accidentally throwing it forwards when he could have easily backed it. Regardless, though, Edison got taken out, and Daisy runs in 2-3-4 for a lot of the race, up until lap 3, where Swig just lag bumps Luke off the track while he's taking cut. And Daisy ended up getting top 2 just by taking the cut at the end there. They were running behind Revan for that race, like I said, and they were able to catch him at the very end. Rumble Volcano's picked. Luke gets Shrooms lap 1, does make the rock, so he has Shroom in first. Swig makes cut lap 2, so Daisy's still top spots here, controlling first. Revan is right on their tail. Pau comes out, so he shouldn't have any Shrooms yet. He's going to have a couple sets to pull them. And at this point, SE has Shock. Luke can't see his fib because of the blooper in his face. So he's passed up. Yeah, so SE Shock comes out, dodges their guy, and cut. Sammy gets TS'd. And everyone else is forced to go around. Looks like Edison dodges in Bill, so he's able to get up there. Emil pulled a golden, and might have been able to tell by the minimap if you're looking closely. He actually goldens up and does get into third there at the end, even though Edison dodged into Bill. And yeah, Luke would have gotten fourth if he didn't hit the fib, but I mean, he was paying attention to that red shell that was going for him, and there was a blooper in his face, so it's kind of tough. But Daisy does get a decent race considering that SE pulled Shock there. Coconut Mall's picked, and kind of bad items for Daisy at the beginning. Triple reds and a TC. It's not what you want to see. And the reds only really connect onto Sean, but SE still was able to get up into the top spots very early there, as they are they are only first, actually. Sammy is in second. So Daisy was able to break things up, but yeah, Revan's just going to be running it up in first. Gets a pretty easy breakaway until someone takes cut. It's Swig, and Shock comes out. I'm pretty sure it was a SE Shock, as Revise just dodges in Bill. I mean, if no one else is in a dodge on the other team and you're in a Bill, it's just going to take you up to the front, and they can't really do anything about it. So I'm assuming that was an SE Shock because Emil also dodged, but he was in 8th, and it he's still in 8th, so it wouldn't have done anything for Daisy there, yeah. And SE gets top 2, 5, 6 out of it. Going into the last race, things are about even. Pretty much even. I mean, if you get a decent race here, you're winning the war, and most likely the GP as well. So SE gets their maple track pick for top 2, and they are able to keep top 2 and get a nice back green off on the boost pads, and Daisy's left spinning. Luke goes up for an item box. It's triple shrooms. Somebody spammed a bill in the back there. Just shrooms past Edison. Yeah, Edison's trying to stop shroom for no reason. Misses the box. They kind of, he gets backed again. They kind of need a blue or POW or something, because Emil is up there in 3rd, but top 2 would be enough for them to win, and they do just cannon dodge lap 2 very early, which does secure them top 2, and they get the dub. Yeah, even though SE gets 6-8 there, all they really needed was top 2 and a couple other spots, and they were able to pull it through by the slimmest of margins. So unfortunate loss for Daisy. They were so close, and SE is barely able to scrape by. Daisy looked a lot stronger this time around. They were getting up into the front a lot more often, it felt like. Even if it wasn't first, they would get into 2-3 or 3-4 and be putting pressure on them. And it wasn't just Emil this time. It felt like everyone was getting up there. So it's a really tough loss. If just DK Summit goes a bit better, they would have been in a more comfortable position. That last GP on DK Summit, 3 of them were respawning on doubles, so SE just gets into top 4 extremely quickly and can't really do a lot there unless you get shock or POW in order to catch back up. So they just needed somebody to make double lap 1 to hold them down. I don't understand how 3 people could get bumped off of it so easily. Sammy, I think, took single in like a mid spot, but he was still in the back. So Daisy is 0-3 as well. And I honestly think they're in an even tougher position than KG, because they have to play XI again in Heaven. But I don't think their chances of beating either of those teams is as high as what KG's would be. So the miracle winning out scenario isn't as likely in my opinion, because if they lose to if they lose to Heaven and XI, they have to win 5 more matches, and even if you go 5-5, you probably still won't even make playoffs in that scenario, honestly. Like, if you go 5-5, getting like 8-4 victories, 10-2s, with as many GSC points as it has now, it's not going to be likely that you do make playoffs. Beating SE here would have been really good for them, because if we're going under the assumption that XI and Heaven are both making it and they're both hogging up a lot of points, then you want to be beating your competition, and SE is definitely going to be a team that's going to be competing for that playoff spot. So it's looking a little bit grim for Daisy right now, and we'll see if Daisy can bounce back as we just jump into the next match, which is Daisy versus Heaven. Like I said, I think Daisy's chances of beating Heaven are pretty slim. But the lineup that Heaven ends up using as they start the war is Types, Jan, Atama, Prin, and Roast. So you have no Deco and no Azmat. Prin and Atama are both decent players in their own right, but obviously they do not bring as much to the table as Azmat and Deco do. We have no POV of the first GP, but this is what the table looks like after 4 races. So Daisy does get a small lead here, and they take the GP win. But unfortunately for them, Azmac does make a power sub into GP2, so we'll get his POV for the rest of the war here. Race 5, start of GP2, we get BC3. Azmac going for cut, and he gets bumped off of it. So if he took a fast cut, I don't think he would have had a clear shot, so he stops. Looks like Swig's also back here. Looks like Jan also failed it. So 2 of Heaven getting bumped off at the beginning of the cut, so Daisy should be more of the top spots, but Prin actually is gone in first. Going into the cut section, lap 2, James doesn't make Ultra. And Azmac's aligning, maybe he can take it. Nope, he waits for Jan to unblock, and honestly, it's probably worth it as Azmac gets up into 3rd. Jan kind of has to die off the track, but they are 3-4 now. And cut section lap 3, TC on Azmac, but they use shock to TS Emil. After that TS, Azmac's going to just sit on Ultra, try to prevent Emil from taking it, doing the best he can. Looks like Types is griefing on normal cut, but Daisy, Emil actually does make cut. Types fails it, so Emil is in first place, and a blue came out on to Prin, it looked like, so he is in third. And even after a Heaven Shock, Daisy still secures first. They get bottom 3, so, you know, that's an okay race for them. Wait, it's a penalty. Someone's saying that there's a penalty for that race? I don't really know what he's talking about. Yeah, no, Daisy, no, Merca's right there. That's Roast.
What the hell? Oh my God, no way.
Okay, so Swig appears to be a lap behind, so it's gonna be a -20 on Daisy, and oh my God, okay. Well, it's -40 on Daisy that race, and they also lost that race by 10 points, or 12 points, so -50. And let's just skip to the end of the GP because they're not coming back from that. It's about even, so it's about -50 going into the last GP. Race 9, we get Grumble Volcano. Azmac makes a clean rock. Daisy, Emil pulls a TC in third there. Not what you like, but if he's able to pass it, they could cause some damage, prevent Azmac from taking rock, but unfortunately he sticks with the TC. James still in first, holding it down though. And it's just a blue shell that comes out, so yeah, Daisy was 1-3 going into lap 2, and now they both just get taken out by unfortunate item pulls. And it looks like Jan is taking rock in first, while Azmac takes rock right behind him. So Heaven just holds on this race pretty easily, gets top 2-4. So now it's looking very grim. Daisy really needs to turn on the jets here in this race 10. As unfortunately Moonview Highway is picked, and this is lap 3. Azmac just runs for 2 laps straight, but Pow comes out and it target Pows him pretty badly. He kind of mistimes his hop there, so Swig gets into 1. Maybe if he's able to hit out Azmac, something can happen. He does hit a nice little laggy backflip, so ooh, and he gets comboed, so Daisy is 1-3. Jan's billing up. Looks like Sammy got hit by the bomb car explosion. That kind of sucks. But Heaven is all kind of back here, and Shock comes out, I'm assuming, which should be a Daisy Shock, as Sammy dodges in a star. Maybe it could have been Heaven Shock trying to dodge on the boost pads, because it would be a little bit risky for Daisy to shock there when they're 1-3. Regardless, it's only a 1-3-5-7, which is just not a lot. They're still down around 50, maybe even more going into the last races, so it's over for Daisy. Heaven takes the GP and also takes home the war. Man, it just sucks that they really had a shot going into GP2. You know, even though Azmac wasn't playing and they were only up by 12, that's still something. You know, that's still something you can hold on to and maybe bring with you, bring some momentum with you going into the next GP. Because without that troll penalty, they only lost that GP by 10 points, so they would have still been up going into GP3. But with the troll penalty, man, they were down like 40, or yeah, about 40 points, 50 points, something like that. That troll penalty is just so bad. They literally had a chance. They literally had a chance. Swig was just in last, failing Shroomless over and over again, when he could have maybe been dropping stars or something, because they knew that Heaven had shock, so they're able to drop a star for Emil, and he can freely just take Ultra and a star or something. I don't know, but pretty dumb penalty, and then another -20 on top of that. It's just really bad, really sloppy play. This would have been a crazy upset too, but now Heaven is undefeated. Daisy is yet to find a win, and we're going to move on to the next match, which is IF versus 2S. We have no POV of this match, but we do have some tables, and this is what the table is looking like after 6 races. So 2S laying the beat down the first GP and second GP, as they're up 70 points. 70 points halfway through the war. So it's looking like a pretty easy win for 2S here, except this is what the table looks like at the end of the war. IF comes back on the last race down about 20 points, still going into race 12, and they clutch out a win here versus 2S. It's actually a crazy comeback. and they win 10-2. So they were able to win GP2 and obviously come back on GP3. That is a crucial win for IF there, as 2S is definitely going to be another team in the running for playoffs. So to knock those points off the competition in such a close game, it's going to be very pivotal for them. And I don't really have anything else to say here, as we don't have the POV, other than they use Ryan British again and they get another dub. So maybe he could be key for their lineup, because when we played them last week, we were pretty able to confidently beat them. But Ryan British in lineup, they're undefeated, so it's something to look out for. And we'll move on to another 2S match versus SE, another match with no POV. I think Mac was streaming with bagging POV, but regardless, just looking at the table, 2S won GP1 by 3 points. They won GP2 by 5 points. And then they closed it out GP3 by 30 points, but that's a 12-0 by very slim margins on the GPs, which is going to be probably important for them. Once again, 2S showing to be a pretty strong team in this division, taking out SE, an established D1 force. Not really much up to say here. I mean, it was a close match. SE definitely could have came through and won it. They're going to play again in the future, so should be another close match then. Looking forward to it, but we'll move on to SE versus XI. Now, very interesting matchup here. I didn't know this until a couple days ago. SE had beaten XI in the past 2 seasons. Season 5, they went 2-0 versus XI. Season 4, they went 2-0 versus XI. Season 3, when Metro Wipeout was playing, with only Leops over Faisal for their lineup, basically the same team, you know. SE had went 1-0 versus them, and then I don't think they played in Season 2, and then Season 1 was Airy, but that was really only Xander. And I don't know about MKPS before that, but basically as their core members, the past 5 games in GSC, SE had taken it over XI, so pretty impressive stuff considering that XI is definitely considered the favorite now and had won 2 seasons in the past. So it should be a pretty tight match here as we start on race 1, DK Mountain. Fox started in the back and he pulls a star very early on. And at the end of the first lap, we see Barney get hit, we see Revise get hit, we see Faisal shrooming up with Sean, and a blue come out onto SE. So very, very hectic ending of the first lap there. Fox gets into third, but Edison has reds on his ass, so he just uses his star to try to get away. He misses the chain and doesn't actually pass Sean here or hit him. But knowing Fox, when you're that close to somebody, you know he's going to go for the outline, as he does have, I think it's for third BKT, third worldwide BKT. And he does successfully just bump Sean into his trail, kind of forced past him. It's pretty hard to get past that when you're sandwiched in between someone's 1-3. So Fox and Faisal run top 2 until lap 3. Blue and Pow come out. And Fox is forced to take 2008 strat, but he bonks on the wall and he gets fib redded right after. It's a little bit hard to tell, but Xander was shrooming up at the end. So even though Faisal and Fox get hit out, XI still gets 1-4-5-8. So not too bad considering they got target powed and blued there at the very end. And they get their Warriors gold mine pick. Fox pulls a mega pretty early, just decides to hold on to it as Revan sneaks into first. XI is still controlling spots behind him. Fib goes up, but it doesn't connect. And then a blue comes out lap 2. So XI gets into 1-3. Fox chains a mega. I'm a little bit surprised and confused as to why he would chain there. Doesn't really seem like it would do much for him. He doesn't even catch up to Edison, but Faisal does shroom up, so they are top 2-4 in the middle of lap 2 until another blue shell comes out. This time connecting on Xander. They're still controlling a lot of the top spots here until a shot comes out lap 3. I think it is an SE shock predicted by Fox to get the shock red, or he just got a lucky shock red because Revise dodges up and he does end up finishing in first as Faisal and Fox do keep 2-3 right behind him, and it's a winning race for SE. SE gets their DDR track pick, but Faisal lag starts in front of first place from second. Fox takes the mini sand top, which saves him enough time at least to keep second here, and XI gets into top 3 when they're only starting in the 2-3 spots because of that very fortunate lag start. Shock comes out. I'm assuming it's an XI shock because Sully is not spinning out. As they ran in top 2 the entire race, Fox and Faisal, as you can see, kept top 2. But Sean looks like he might have pulled a red and just hits Faisal out. And it's only a 1-3-5-7 for XI when could have probably been a top 2-5 or something if they decided to hold on to that shock a little bit longer. I think it might have been an ambitious Xander shock call. But they get their DK Summit pick. And Fox backs his green, doesn't connect. And Edison and it looks like Sean are also shrooming up. These greens come up, they force Edison to take a weird angle because he doesn't want to drift directly into the greens. So Fox does control first again after the double shortcut. He runs for 2 laps until Shock comes out. Lap 3 for SE. Tries to stick on the zipper, does a little bit of acrobatic maneuvers. He's still in second, but SE are all up here. And unfortunately, Fox does get fib-redded again. However, there's a very, very important moment as XI pulls the POW, and if you just look at Revan and Edison in top 2, they actually are both off in top 2. So Fox takes single, he hits the Nana, but he's still in second, and he's very close to Sean. Like I said, Edison and Revan were off in top 2, so Pack is going to be much closer in XI's favor. Tries to outline Sean at the end, but he doesn't get it. He just gets second, but XI gets 2-3-4 out of that. That POW really saved the race. I mean, that was going to be top 2-4 most likely if they kept their spots. If Revan and Edison keep top 2, Sean is right behind Fox. Could have been top 2-4. Instead, XI takes it. They take the GP plus 12. GP2 starts out with Koopa Cape. Fox gets a triple Reds pull. He's able to take Shroomba and Red Revise, who has a TC, so you know he's going to be dead for a while. And XI actually just ends up running this one, Xander and Fox in top 2 the entire time, till an SE shock lap 3. Fox unnecessarily goes for cut when they know that SE has shock, and he gets TS'd. He loses a ton of time, and actually ends up getting 7th. So SE finishes the race 1-3-4-5 when Fox pretty easily could have kept 3rd there, I think, if he just stayed right behind Xander. But SE gets their track pick with Maple. However, the spots get pretty mixed up quickly as only Sean is able to keep his top spot. Fox gets starred at the very beginning, so he's going to be stuck in the back a while. He does pull Bill in 8th, and XI actually does pull Shock Lap 2. They use it to dodge their bottom 3. And, I mean, Fox has Bill in like 3rd place for the rest of the race here. It's going to be pretty easy for him to take this one home. Actually, he's in 4th place. Sean is still up there. So SE is still in a lot of the top spots, but blue comes out, and it does hit Sean. So now XI is going to be controlling, I think, 1-3 or 2-3. Xander might be able to edge out. Yeah, it looks like Xander does edge out Edison. And Fox ends up just billing up at the end, and they get 1-3-5-8. So it's another winning race for XI. SE picks RBC. However, Faisal gets the 3rd place draft onto Fox. So their control top 2, a quick back fib comes out onto Sean, and he pulls a TC. So kind of like Koopa Cape, they're just getting hit out with TC. So you know that they're going to be dead for a while. And it is the case again like Koopa Cape because Fox and Faisal run it this time uninterrupted as they finish it in top 2. GV comes out and Fox runs for the first lap. As you can see, SE didn't make rock, so he's able to keep first. Going into lap 3 cut, he actually keeps it the entire race. Barney's the first one into cut, but SE is right behind him, and an SE shock comes out. They try to get Barney out, but they don't quite get him. So they end up getting 2-3-4 at the end here. Edison's going to shroom up. And what could have been top 2-4, yeah, it would have been top 2-4 if they got Barney out. However, SE still takes home the GP, and they win it by 6 points, so another very close match for SE going into the final GP. XI only up 6 points into GP3. Fox pulls triple shrooms, and it's going to be another crazy first lap of BC3, but he does just make cut quite easily. Barney makes ultra as well, so they have a little bit of a breakaway in top 2. Goes for the block lap 2, but an SE shock comes out to prevent XI from taking cut, and they also end up dodging, it looks like, Revise and Edison, and they're both able to take cut. Somebody must have unblocked up there, or they dodged in a star or something. Oh, it was Revise and Revan, excuse me. Lap 3 comes, and a fib is on cut, so it does slow Fox down. Honestly, a decent amount. If there was no fib on the cut there, he might have been able to try to force Revise out of second place with his triple greens. It would have been a lot closer, but SE just takes home top 2 after that lap 2 shock, and XI gets their Delfino square pick. Quick backspam from Revan gets both Barney and Fox, but it is Delfino, so spots get pretty mixed up quickly here as people are able to take cut. As you can see, Barney is in first, but it's very close, and Fox is forced to kind of swerve around, try to slow down, not to get redded here. And he gets triple shrooms, pretty lucky pull. As you can see, he's not doing double because XI did have the shock at that point. Xander was able to dodge. Fox gets a really good red pull right here because Revise can't do anything. He's just going to get redded out. And XI gets top 2-4 as Edison shrooms up at the end. But yeah, very in control of that race with shock, and Barney just able to take double and keep first place. But another reset track, so we're not really getting many chaining running tracks here. Fox pulls a shroom. Revise is going to be ahead of him though with this TC, very easily able to schlag around with it and try to pass it off. He does pass it off, and Fox is not able to pass it back, so he's stuck in the back for quite a bit of that first lap, and SC does actually control top 3 going into lap 2 until Fox goldens up, and he gets into third, maybe second place. It's going to be really tight for him. He's basically in a 1v3 right now. Gets a red shell, tries to back it around the hedge in a kind of an unconventional spot, but it doesn't connect. Lap 3 comes, and a shock comes out for XI. He tries the shock ride, but a lucky drop banana ends up blocking the red shell. Faisal is still going to get into first with his mega, and Fox is going to try to outline Sean here as he goes for the world record strat, but he misses the slip, kind of messes him up, fakes him out, and he doesn't know where the chain chomps are. So he ends up messing up pretty badly and drops back to fourth as Edison picks up a ground star. But Barney did end up shrooming up there as well, and it looks like XI is in control of most of the top spots. Unfortunately, Fox gets his box stolen by Sully, and then he clips the grass, but in the end, it doesn't really matter because XI ends up finishing top 2-4. And yeah, at this point, they are up by a decent amount going into the last race. They're up by 20, and they do get their Toad's Factory track pick. Finally, we see a running track come out for a team with a lot of the top spots, and they do get the draft lap 1. And not much to see here. Fox gets a pretty free run, so XI takes it home 10-2. Like I said, another very close match for SE. All of their matches have been close. They've been showing that they can compete and stick in there. For a lot of them, it just comes down to whether or not they can close them out. The Daisy match, they were able to close it out. This time, they were not able to. Looked like the shocks were heavily in favor of XI in that last GP, and that was helping them out a lot. Honestly, a tough loss considering how close it was for them. Getting a win on XI would have been huge. And like we talked about in the beginning of that match, they had gone 5-0 with them in the past 5 matches, so it's their first loss to XI in a long time. But they are going to play again, so I'm looking forward to that matchup. That's going to be another close one, and it might be an important match for SE to win, as like I said, since XI is starting so strong, SE is going to have to start competing with 2S and the other teams in order to get that playoff spot. And I know that I said I was going to cut these a little bit shorter, but yeah, we're just going to keep on going. We're going to keep on trucking along with one final match, SL versus Daisy. Now, going into this is kind of a must-win match for us, because if Daisy does continue to lose, all the other teams are going to be getting points off of them, and if we lose to them, you know, that's going to be free points that we left on the table. So this is definitely an important match, although it is probably going to be an easier match, just based off how the season has gone so far for Daisy, and based on our previous scrim results with them. We had played them pretty recently, I think twice, and done well against them, so we know we can beat them for sure. However, as we approach the match time, our bagger, Burkio, Big Birkenstock, he says that his disc isn't working, and he keeps getting disc errors, so we need to sub him out, and we end up subbing Meat Camel aka Will See You, who has bagged probably a dozen times, maybe 10 times in the past. But he did bag against Merc in one of our scrims versus Daisy, and he rolled Merc, so you know what? We had faith in Meat Camel, and we decided to run with him bagging and see how things go. We start out as host picking DDR, of course. I drive wide in 5th here, get a 5th place box. It's a garbage TC, and I try to pass it to Dookie. Doesn't pass, but I do break the red on that pokey. And I'm kind of just screwed here. I didn't know that was Sam, so I went past the set when I probably should have just waited before the set. So I'm in 8th for the majority of the race until I pull a golden going into lap 3. I do just take Ultra, and we have the shock, but we're 3-4-5, and we really don't have a place to use it. We didn't get any dodges, and we weren't really close enough to TS them or shock red or anything, so we just end up holding it to secure like 3-4-5, which isn't that good. Next up, we get Sherbet as our track pick. I'm bumped around a little bit. I do get a box 5. It's a bomb, but I'm back redded pretty quickly. But at least I'm able to back bomb the guy who got their 8th placer, so in case he had Bill or something, he does not have it anymore. Lap 2, I have a star, but I get bumped into the rock, so I just burn the star. Chain of golden. Again, I'm just in the back of the pack for the majority of these races. Sam pulls a TC, so he's also back here. I burn my golden, I do get my chain. It's a blue shell, which I hold because Macy is in 1st. If you look at the mini-map, the Daisy ends up hitting Macy out. So Emil gets into 1st. I'm able to chain blue. I'm going to blue Emil and shroom up, hopefully. But we know that they have shock, so I actually hold my shrooms because I think that Dookie has a dodge behind me. He's been in the back for a majority of the race, and then I see Swig stop, so I thought they might call into that set, but they don't. It looks like Dookie actually just had shrooms himself. So I pull a TC, and I pass it to our bagger, luckily. Get a bomb, but people are pretty far away. I chuck the bomb up. It's not going to hit anybody. Sammy and Brody both got hit out. I'm in 4th, so we're 1-4, and we do finish the race 1-4, but it's not a good race for us. I think that actually is winning for Daisy. But we get our RBC track pick for 1-4. I get a draft, but I'm kind of like bumped to the right, and then I get weird air off the bridge. I definitely could have survived that, but I messed up whatever alignment I was going for. I'm still in 2nd, though. I have triple greens. I'm going to try to snipe Dookie. It's going to come off the wall, make things a little bit awkward for him, and Brody Mega's right behind him, so Brody gets into 1st pretty easily there. I get a Nana. I see all of Daisy behind me, so I just back Nana tight. I'm going to hit somebody, of course. And then I get fib sniped right before set, so kind of just in the back with this single green. Going to be in the back of the pack now. And Swig has reds in front of me as we're bottom 2, so I'm probably going to end up getting hit here. Although he just ends up backing them. I could have escaped that unscathed, but I do hit the red, so pack splits out. I'm in the back for a while until I shroom up lap 2, and we are 1-4. Brody is back spamming a lot. I get triple greens, just kind of pull him out on this guy, and I don't hit anybody. We do target POW. They're 2-3 right there, and I'm able to hop dodge off the bridge, so I'm getting a little bit closer with that target POW. We're 4-5. Macy's getting a little bit closer to the pack. Macy gets hit out, but as you can see, I'm closing in on Emil, but there's 3 nanas and a ground shell on that turn. I do think I actually gained a little bit of time because I didn't hit anything, and I'm able to target POW Emil, and I get triple shroom, so I shroom once, and I want to fake him out a little bit, maybe make him think that I only had 1 shroom, so I tried to stop shroom him off the bridge. I think if I just timed it better and was a little bit closer, I could have gotten it, but they have shock, so I slow down in fear of the TS. They don't TS, and I'm able to get a draft off, which is pretty lucky that he didn't backspam me there on the rail. He very easily could have, and I still get 3rd, even though I slowed down. It was kind of risky, but, you know, if he calls shock there, he gets me after set, probably TS's me, and probably beats me. But it didn't really look like he was going for that, so in retrospect, it might have just been better if I went forwards. Either way, I do get 3rd, and we do get our maple pick. I don't jump in 3rd. I think our 8th placer jumps in there. And I got triple greens again, so I pull him out on Swig. He's hit out. We're 1-3-4 going into the branch turn, but one of them is in a star, so Emil's going to be able to get up there. We're still like 1-3-4, but Sam kind of lag bumps me, and I'm sent to the back yet again. All my races, I'm sitting in the back. So I get triple shrooms, kind of just shroom up, get a little bit closer. They are top 2. at this point, but the pack is very close. Chain my shroom here, and I barely avoid that green shell. I actually don't chain up, I'm saving it for the cut. Barely avoid the green shell, and it is lap 3 right now, and right before we get into cannon, we pulled shock. We didn't have enough time to slow down. We maybe could have called Emil out. It would have been a super close timing though, and Macy was very close to Emil there, so he might have gotten Macy out too. I shroom up, and I unfortunately just hit Swig's trail. I really thought I could just shroom tight there, and I would have been ahead of him, but I get kind of a wide angle on that tree branch. Like I said, we had shock, and Sam pulled Bill in the back, so we use it here to try to TS Emil, I think. But it doesn't do much. We only get 2-4 out of it. We get bottom 2. So Daisy wins that GP by a decent amount, I think somewhere in the mid-20s. Next GP starts, and we're on BC3. I'm able to red one person, even though he had triple greens. I red another person. So we're actually top 3. I'm going to slag a little bit with these reds, but I don't connect. And then I slow down a little bit too much, so I'm a little bit scared of what Swig can do with those greens there. I get another shroom. I'm just going to sit on cut as we block it and take ultra, see if they're going to unblock, but none of them go on to cut. 2 of them went on ultra, and I think Emil got bumped off the track before he could even align for ultra, so we're just top 3 while 2 of us went around. Emil does eventually make cut, but I'm here with triple reds, and Sam is right there. I think he shroomed Emil off or just swerved him off. I didn't really see where Sam was on my screen, but luckily I didn't hit him. And we use a shock on lap 2. Sam calls it as he pulled a mega, and we just TS them on cut pretty easily. So now we are comfortably in top 4. And I don't chain any boxes in 4th in fear of a TC. It actually bites me in the ass because these reds somehow catch up to me on the straightaway, and I don't have anything to block it. It was perfect timing with those reds. I get a blooper in 7th, which is not ideal. Now here, instead of just spamming the blooper, I actually wait to see if we're doing cuts, and then I use it to try to blooper Emil as he takes ultra. And I don't know if that actually ended up affecting him, but he does fail it. Sammy fails mega cut, Swig fails star cut. They all failed, and we get a pretty easy top 4. I would like to think that, you know, the blooper affected his vision, but it was a little bit late. He might have had enough time to just align there and take the cut. But regardless, it is top 4. Daisy gets their RMC track pick. I get triple shrooms after stopping for a second, which is pretty good. I am able to take cut. I'm 4th with 2 shrooms, but Emil has a red behind me, so I know I'm going to have to probably burn one to break it, as I do. Still have a shroom in 4th, though, and the bottom spots are kind of broken away a little bit. I tried to just ego and take cut there. Loonhove, Dookie, the L always messes me up. He had a red in front of me, and Emil's in a mega behind me, so it was a really tight situation for me right there. We hold shock for a while because we did secure top 2, and then at the very end, I'm able to spam some reds as Sam dodges, so I do shock red Dookie, giving Sam 5th place. Top 2, 5, 7. Yes, Macy and Brody just held down the fort in top 2, which was nice. And we get our DK Mountain track pick, but buckle up because this one's going to be a rocky, bumpy ride, as it is mountain, but things get crazy on this race. I pull POW at second set, which is pretty rare. POW doesn't spawn until about 20 seconds. We actually have to use the POW lap 1 because Brody and Macy lost their top spots. Daisy was controlling top 2 right there on the turn. So Brody does get back up into first after the T-POW. And pack's pretty close. We're shrooming up. Looks like Swig was bumped off. Macy spinning out. Brody gets blued. Macy shroomed back up, so we actually get into 1-3-4 going into the cannon lap 2. And I stop here with my reds because Will mentioned that they could have. He just touched the box, so I thought it was worth it, and maybe I could red Sammy, but he just kind of lag bumps me out to the side, which puts me in a bad line, and I do not get a chain either. So we're 1-3-5, but Sam has a TC, and it looks like he's unable to pass it. I didn't really know where he was going, so I accidentally just drive into him with this red shell, which kind of sucked. And it's kind of hard to tell, but Macy got sniped or something and is on the side of the wall. So now they are top 2. POW comes out. I honestly don't know whose it was, but I'm able to at least snipe Sammy, and then we get a blue now. So it could have been bad them running in top 3 right there, but luckily they're only in first and we are 2-3. And I have a red on Swig, and believe it or not, we actually pulled another blue at first set, lap 3, so I go for a box, space out a little bit just in case, and I know I'm going to be able to combo swig here as the blue's coming, and I'm able to red swig, and you can't really tell what's happening in the back, but we have Pow in 5th, and they are still 2, 3, 4, so I'm going to call Pow as soon as I'm safe from cut, but I failed to cut. I'll explain it after the video, but we got another blue shell. Yeah, we got another blue shell. So me failing cut means that we can blue a meal on the line, and we actually end up getting top 3 6 after all of that. We got 3 blues lap 3, pretty much going into lap 3. And yeah, we end up getting a huge race off my blunder there. And we get our BCW pick as well. I stop at first set. I don't even get the Aether. I just go for the next box. I get the Aether now, and it is a golden, which is okay. I'm just going to hold this till either glitch, or now that I'm in 3rd, I'm just going to golden around spiral. If I was more in the middle of the pack and we had someone else up there in the front, then I would probably attempt glitch, but I think our main goal is going to be to block, cut, and prevent Emil from taking it. So I'm powed before I can even start to golden, and I pulled triple greens, which isn't bad. We were still 1-3, and Emil did not make the glitch until later. As you can see, he's right behind me now. I'm going to try my best to stave him off, but none of my greens really connect. Blue comes out for Daisy, and Brody just slams the brake, and Dookie gets hit out. So now I'm in 1st, and I actually hold 1st for quite a while. I'm able to block the cut, and Emil, I think he might have actually fallen off there. We got in a pretty bad glitch attempt, but I keep 1st up until lap 3, where a target POW comes out, and I almost handle it well. That's worked for me before, where the first bounce is like comes right there, and I can spin drift, and so I'm angled at a better spot to not get T-Pow'd as bad, but I just T-Pow'd myself into the wall, which kind of sucked. So Swig does take over into 1st, and I didn't get an item to block cut, and I didn't even think about backing my green on the cut, but for some reason, Emil actually fails glitch again. So they are only able to get 1st this race, and it doesn't matter too much that we messed up that race, because we crushed them pretty hard that GP, and we are up 36 going into GP3. Obviously got the GSC points there. We get our DK Summit pick. I unfortunately missed the box on the first set, and Sammy has a TC behind me, so do a little bit of swerving just to make absolutely sure that I do not get it. Get a box here. It's triple shroom, so I'm just going to shroom up, as we are 1-3-4 it looks like. So we have a lot of pressure on Emil here going into the cut, and it looks like he got a bad mogul trick or something and has to go wide, and Macy just bumps him off, but Macy also failed double. We're still top 2. I have 2 shrooms in 2nd. I burn 1, and a blue is thrown from 5th. I might have been able to tell Brody to slow down there, but I just decided against it, as we had a POW as well, so it takes single and we T-POW them on the shortcut. I just keep 1st on going into lap 3, and we have shock here as well. Will made it back before Merc did, so call it pretty easy shock on the double and have some dodges. It's a pretty easy top 3 for us when you have POW and shock on DK Summit. Daisy does get their Gardens pick as we're top 3, so I'm going to swerve around a little bit, try to get a box in 3rd or 4th. Get a red shell. I'm just going to spam that up immediately. Fib Snipe comes out onto Macy, but Brody did pull shrooms. I get a pretty lucky draft here. Pretty fortunate not to get back greened. If he backed that any earlier, I definitely was going to get hit. So we're 1-3, and I throw up a Nana onto the slope, and it actually connects. Kind of surprised that hit. I backed 2 Nanas on the turn. I don't think I hit anyone with those, though. We are top 2. A bomb snipe almost hits Brody. He lags through it on my screen, and I pull a shroom 2nd. So we keep top 2 going all the way up until lap 3. And I know Emil has a shroom, and I tried to, I don't even know what I was thinking there. I think if I pulled a bomb, or no, I was in 2nd. I don't really know what I was trying to do there, but it definitely was not a good play because I just lost time for no reason. Daisy uses a shock, as you can see 2 of them dodge. So it's really only Brody up there now. And I get a blooper, so that's not going to help me too much. And Brody luckily holds on to 1st, but we get bottom 3 after that shock. We get KC next. I get a bomb at first set. Sometimes I like to throw it up, but pack was really too close in front of me, so I tried to back it on cut, expecting someone to shroom or golden up or something. And going into lap 2, Daisy did get into top 3. I think a drop star helped them extend their lead, but I have 2 shrooms in 4th, so I'm going to be able to take both cuts. Sam had a golden in 5th, so we're going to break the spots up pretty quickly. I see this box off to the right, and I think I can do a little grass cut while I chain, but mess it up. That's happened to me before. I don't know why I keep going for that. That same exact scenario has happened before. But I just spam a red at a meal as I get redded myself. Probably a worthwhile trade. Get triple shrooms, and I'm just shrooming up again. This time I can take a shortcut and get the box. Get triple greens, which isn't bad. I just pull them out. Hopefully, am I able to hit Dookie, but I'm not able to. And the pack is really tight at the end here. I'm just driving as tight as I can. Sam is right next to me, but I can't really throw these away, so I'm just going to keep them out and try to survive and maybe hit out Dookie if I can. As I think I'm ahead on my screen, but he lags up. There's 2 fibs on the landing, but I pull a red. I'm just able to spam it at him, and we get 2, 3, 5, 6. So a decent race there. And we are up around 20 points going into the final race, so we have a comfortable lead, or 20 points for the GP. Pretty much guaranteed win the war. And finally, we get Moonview Highway. So Moonview is one of our worst tracks, and they were starting in 1-4, so they get a draft up, and I mega up into 3rd, and if I sniped the bomb car with that green earlier, I think I might have been able to bomb Swig, and this ends up mattering a lot because we just run in those spots the entire race, in that top 3 spots, while Daisy does manage to get 4-5, so they get top 2, 4-5, and they actually win the GP off of that last race. We were up going into the last race for the GP, and they came back and won it, so it's only an 8-4 victory for us. And that kind of hurts, like I mentioned at the beginning of this match. If Daisy is going to be a free team, I mean, I don't know what else to say. If they are going to lose, a lot of these matches, we're kind of leaving points on the board if other teams are going to get 10 2s and 12 0s, like we've already seen. So that hurts, especially because we were up 20 going into the last race. We had a nice lead on them, so it hurts a lot. But as far as my performance that war, definitely played better. I didn't really have many opportunities to make the big play or make a super sweaty play. I was really in the back for a lot of the race, for a lot of the races. And then when I was in the front, like Summit or something, or on Moonview even in 3rd, I didn't really have any problems keeping my position. Now, the biggest misplays I made, well, first of all, was Mountain falling off. I'll explain what happened. So Sam had POW, and I was going to call when I was safe because a lot of Daisy was behind me. I was just going to say, like, when I was past cut, but I faked myself out, and I called that I was safe, like, as I was approaching cut. I don't know why I did this. Maybe it's because I was thinking about call delay or something like that. But either way, I called it too early, so I thought, oh shoot, if POW comes now and I do my spin drift cut, I'm going to get a bounce and I'm going to fall off. So I decided to take a really slow cut where I don't bounce or I don't hop at all, and I ended up taking a bad cut because I usually don't do that. So I just faked myself out too much. In the end, it didn't matter because we still got top 36. Maybe if I am able to make that quickly and we T-POW Emil, he is so far behind in 2nd that we are able to blue him at the line and get top 4. But either way, it didn't matter too much. The only other really spots I messed up was on BC Wii with the T-POW, but even then, that didn't matter. We were guaranteed winning that GP anyways. And then on Gardens, I kind of messed up when I tried to schlag Emil before cut lap 3 and I lost time. Maybe if I was closer to the pack lap 3, I would have been able to do something, because we just ended up getting bottom 3 that race, and Brody, who was right in front of me, still kept 1st, so could have mattered, could have made a difference. But yeah, overall played pretty decently, and just something to note is that Merc got outbagged super hard by Will, and Will had only bagged, like I said, about a dozen times before this, so if Daisy does want to keep competing in the future, as this team, as this core squad, they need Merc to either improve or just to get a better, different bagger altogether, because there's just no reason why he should be failing DK Summit bagging strat a bunch of times in a row while our bagger who doesn't bag is making it before him after repeated tries or a bunch of tries and getting shock on that race. Like, if you're an experienced D1 bagger, you need to those strats, the tracks with those type of strats need to be free. That should have been a free shock for them. And I don't want to rank on him too much, and sound like a dickhead or anything, but if you're trying to play in D1 and actually win, and you're serious about winning, then definitely need to improve a little bit in the bagging department. If you just want to play as your squad and have fun and try to win matches, but you're not like too serious about it, not too concerned, then I understand that too. But if it is a matter of what can we do differently in the future as a team, then I definitely think that improving in that department would help. Again, not trying to ego here, just looking at things plainly. I know that bagging is luck based, but Will really isn't even a bagger, so there should be no reason as to why he's performing that much better. And that about wraps things up for week 2. Nothing too crazy, more of the same really. XI and Heaven stay on top, undefeated. Daisy yet to find a win. They are 0-5 now, so the season is honestly looking shot at this point, which is sad because they had some good matches. They were close with SE. They were up on us and Heaven after the first GP, so obviously they have the potential, but it's just not coming to fruition. Just to speculate a little bit, if they don't get those troll pens on BC3, maybe their momentum and their confidence for the rest of that war is differently, and in some different world they are able to win that, because obviously you have to feel a little bit demotivated after a -40. It's got to affect your mentality, maybe how you play a little. So maybe they come back, they win that war with no penalties. Beating Heaven is a huge confidence booster. Maybe that helps them play better against us. Then they go 2-3. All of a sudden, they're back in it for the season. I don't know, just to speculate a bit. It is a little bit of a reach, but you never know how big a mistake like that could have actually made for the rest of their season. The other big story this week definitely is IF's comeback versus 2S. Unfortunately, no POV, but just looking at the standings now, if 2S won that match 10-2, they would have broken away a little bit and secured themselves more near the top for the rankings, but instead they are just more in the middle with the rest of us, and things are very close for the teams that are going to be competing for the playoff spots. I'm looking forward next week to see what KG can do, because I know that they have the potential to make a comeback and make a playoff run, but we'll just have to wait and see. And look forward to next week, guys. I'll see you in week 3.